Welcome to Political Star Talk, an enlightened show about astrology, politics, and the betterment of our society. Join your hostesses, Jennie, Sonya, and Sibyl, for an hour in the stars. This is Political Star Talk.
Welcome back, everybody. As the man said, this is Political Star Talk. I'm Jennie, and I'm here with the lovely Sonya Spirit. Sonya, how you doing?
I am doing well, Miss Jennie. How are you? And you too, Miss Sibyl?
Doing well. How about you, Sibyl?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Glad to be here with both of you today.
Me too. And I'm excited to hear about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the lunar eclipse. And like we were talking before the show, there's no getting around the current temperature of what's going on politically with the riots and the protests. So, of course, that's going to come up too. And we are here every other Wednesday at noon Mountain, 2 Eastern, to talk stars, politics, and astrology. I'm going to hand it over to Sibyl, and she's going to start us off.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. As you can tell, we're just in the middle of this heat, this fire that's going to keep growing. There's a great analogy, and I've been a nurse 40 years, and I've just actually really discovered this, and it's some of the work of Hippocrates, who is one of the great healers in history. And one of his sayings was, "You give me a fever, and I can heal anything." A fever, the heat of the body, the heat is what releases the toxins. It's the body's way of throwing them off, and I kind of feel that analogy in the world as well. We are rising to a fever pitch that is about throwing off these toxins, these poisons that, systemically, personally, with our environment and in our consciousness, because there is no difference between inner and outer. We're all connected that way. And I think it was Sonya last time who talked about the toxicity in our consciousness, the poisoning in our consciousness. It's all coming up, and it just kind of felt like that was a good analogy with the fever. But anyway, so what is happening astrologically is there's just so much going on. This year, 2020, we've had so many different cycles beginning and ending, and we're having 6 eclipses. In a normal year, we have 4. We have a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse, and this year, just the way it's just all landing is that we have 6. And eclipses are harbingers of change. One of the things that happens in an eclipse is that the light of the sun is blocked, and for a short time, and when the light of the sun is blocked, it allows for other more cosmic influences to enter our atmosphere and enter our world. So there's a huge potential for change during eclipse times, during the times when the eclipses are active. And some of these eclipses, their energy actually lasts for much longer than just, the short time, let's just say the 3-day period of a lunar eclipse. So anyway, the lunar eclipse, and what happens at a lunar eclipse, in case you don't know, is that the sun and the moon are on opposite sides of the earth, but the shadow of the earth blocks the light of the sun. So there's a shadow. There's like an emotional shadow, because that's what the moon represents, is our emotional body. So there is a shadow so the light of the sun cannot be seen. And lunar, and of course, at all full moons, emotions run high. Everyone knows, who works in hospitals or police stations or any place like that during the full moon, there is a lot more activity, put it that way, and a lot of high emotional drama. And often the meaning of an eclipse, and one of the things the eclipse brings, is it exposes what has been hidden. And lunar eclipses often work more on a personal and relationship, but the times that we are in, we are in a very emotional time. So it's also, I think, a cosmic kind of an event as well, or world event. And so in Sagittarius is the quest for the truth. It is the seeker. It is the journeyer, the one who is looking for the truth. And so in an eclipse, there is going to be some truths that have been hidden will be visible. It'll be exposing what has been hidden. And, of course, we know, that veil is falling right and left anyway. And the question is always, will we believe what we see when that veil is falling? And so it's a really kind of an explosive energy. And the other piece about Sagittarius, that the shadow side, is about fundamentalism. In one's quest for the truth, one can believe they have the truth, it's the whole truth, and everyone should share that same truth. And so we might see the veil falling on some fundamentalist beliefs, and our own fundamentalist behaviors. Put it that way. Maybe where we carry those beliefs inside of us. That right versus wrong. Sagittarius, it can often be very much attached to their version of the truth. And so there's a real potential here for that veil to fall and a person be able to recognize that within themselves, that they're carrying a piece of that, okay? Because the truth is everywhere. There are pieces of the truth everywhere, and that is actually the Sagittarian journey. Recognizing as doors open, we go through it, and we find pieces of the truth. And no one has the whole truth. And, we have, when we talk about the truth, we have our personal truth and we have the cosmic truth. And, there are things that are just simply true, but then there are other ways in which we understand the truth, which is our personal truth. Okay, but good is good, and what is it they say? Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And we can kind of unpack that a little bit later. The difference between personal truth and cosmic truth, and how and where they need to line up. Okay, let's just say, for an example, a truth for me is that I love astrology. And how it shows me the way through life. For some people, that's not going to be a truth. They're going to have other ways that they do that. But the cosmic truth is, how we treat each other, and how we come, so you understand the difference. Okay, all right. And so, what is it? The golden rule, about how we treat each other. And so the other big piece of this eclipse is, it's opposite the Sun in Gemini. There's a Sun-Venus conjunction in Gemini, and it's square Neptune and Mars in Pisces. And I want to talk just a little bit about Mars before I go on to what this actually means, because it's got a lot of really juicy pieces to it. Mars is very active, and it's going to be active until because it's going retrograde soon. Let's see, it's going to be really active in everything, at least for the next 6 to 8 months. And Mars is the warrior, and Mars stirs the pot. When Mars is really active, it's like I said, it's like adding cayenne pepper to your soup. It makes things pop. And so it's an activator. And so Mars is in a square to this eclipse. Mars is also going to be in a square to the next eclipse, the solar eclipse. And then Mars moves into Aries, its own sign. And so we're going to be talking a lot about Mars energy. Mars is the warrior. Mars brings up issues of conflict and conflict resolution. And also protection and holding your ground. Mars, in the indigenous cultures was the protector, the one who protected the defenseless, and I kind of see that's what's really showing up right now. But anyway, so this Mars in Pisces, square Neptune, Neptune kind of brings a fog, brings a veil. So things are not clear. And so with this, I see also tremendous misinformation and lies coming to light. Put it that way. We've had so much misinformation and so many lies. But with the eclipse, exposes what has been hidden. But the other thing that Pisces brings in Neptune is that it can bring in the concept of where we choose to believe what we want, what is not necessarily true. And so, as I said, as the veil is falling and the truth and the lies are being exposed, will we believe it? We've got these TV sets, these television sets that are just pure propaganda. They just pour this information into our heads where we don't even have to think about what they're telling us. They're subliminal messages. It's programming. And, we've had this coronavirus where we've all been glued to our TVs and being programmed. And so these protests are actually breaking people away from these TV sets. I mean, many people are now out on the streets. I mean, it is the kind of like the spell has kind of been broken in a way. And so the quest for the truth goes on. And the other piece is, truth in your heart. You're not going to feel it in your head. It's not going to be like, what's this or what's that. I mean, that's your mind. But your heart, when it lands as truth, it can often bring tears to your eyes. You recognize truth when you feel it. And you also recognize lies because that's where it hits in your gut. And you can feel it. And this isn't true. But sometimes we don't want to go there, so we pretend. And this is another piece that can show up. Mars in Pisces conjunct Neptune can often also bring, and also square this eclipse is about righteous anger versus misdirected anger. Okay, they're both up. And so there is an absolute piece of righteous anger. I mean, there's a volcanic reaction going on. And it also, just so you know, that energy is there, is the potential for misdirected anger. But another really beautiful piece that I see, and I heard my spiritual teacher said something as I was on a call with her the other day, and it just landed as like, oh my God, I see this. I was kind of really wondering what is the gift of this piece, because Neptune is also that piece. It's the field, and it's where we are all connected, and it is that it's also known as the divine heart. It is the unconditional love of the universe that is care, and it is unity consciousness. It is where we are all connected, and so I realized another piece of this is it's an activation point for a higher vibrational response. Okay, all these prayer circles and healing circles, this is an opportunity. Their energy is just ripe to hold that vibration up through these connections with others, through prayer, through healing, and I can see that web. And one of the things, it is about healing our hearts. And I saw someone put out a post, saying that, don't trust the police, and I know we don't trust the police, but these police that are kneeling with the protesters, these police that are hugging the protesters, the things that, and I know it's not, there's no belief that everything is shifted dramatically, but yet I feel like this is an opportunity to heal the hearts of the police, heal the hearts of those that are in law enforcement by these healing prayer circles and holding that energy up. It is about awakening their humanity. I think, there's this piece that is so much about separation and division that, we're just separate. And yet, I feel like this Neptune in Pisces, what it is bringing is that potential to bring everyone up. And I'm not saying that I'm Pollyanna, pie in the sky, but I'm saying hold that possibility. Miracles happen all the time. And any